Welcome in everyone. Thank you for coming in for another live stream, another Thelma's Live. This one's going to be a little interview show. I'm so excited to bring you a wonderful guest today. Her name is Leslie, and some of you may or may not already be subscribed to her, but she is a very interesting person here on YouTube. I found her videos and I find them quite interesting because she's very knowledgeable in what she presents in her videos about jewelry and even about her selling platforms. And again, I will link her channel and all of her pertinent information down in the description box. It may be in there now. I thought I had front loaded everything, but we'll see. If not, I'll make sure that I put an at Black Dog Vintage. That is her channel name, and that should take you directly to her channel. And I'll also put a link in the description box or in the comment section so you are sure to go and subscribe to her. And let me just take a minute to welcome everyone in the chat. Thank you, everyone who's here. Looks like Kirsten's here, Becky, Patty, Deborah, Ann. We'll say hello as we go along. And I thank you very much for joining us. I think you're going to really enjoy this show because we have a wonderful guest tonight. Hi, Gigi. Thank you so much for being here. You're home today and you're excited to be here. Wonderful. Kat's here. Vanessa's here. Thank you all so much. All right. Well, I'm going to introduce you to Leslie, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself, and then we're going to probe with more questions to her for her. Please be sure and put caps or repeat it if I don't see it. I do have 2 chat windows open, so I hopefully will not miss any like I missed the last time in my last live stream. All right, let me introduce Miss Leslie to you. Hi, Leslie. Tell us about yourself today a little bit.
Hi there. I'm Leslie. I'm with Black Dog Vintage MI, so it's Black Dog Vintage Michigan, because there's other Black Dog Vintages out there. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that makes me a little bit different. And I'm located just outside of Detroit, Michigan, and I have been doing vintage for probably, probably over 30 years now. And it's my passion. And I've had my business reselling since 1997. So
wow,
yeah,
that's incredible.
yeah, I've been on my eBay. It says, thank you for being with us since 1997. It's kind of crazy. I remember when we used to do checks in the mail.
Exactly. I got a few checks in the mail too. Lots of money orders, lots of checks.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of our a little foray into social media too, because we would get a lot of I would get some wonderful thank you notes and feedback that said I'd been looking for this forever, or my father gave me one and I lost it and I'm so glad I found another one. And it was really a lot of fun.
Yes.
Still love eBay. I still think eBay has a wonderful place. Do you still sell on eBay, Leslie?
Oh yeah. I love eBay. Actually, I love eBay. I still do eBay, Poshmark, Etsy, and then of course, I still do the lives on, I do the lives on like Whatnot and all of that too. But yeah, I love eBay. I will always be with eBay.
I do too. It's irreplaceable in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think they're doing some live auctions as well, the live selling, but I think it's very limited right now to certain people. I'm not sure even how it works. But yeah, I always throw everything up on eBay. Sooner or later, something's up on eBay all the time for me.
Yeah.
But I know you have to really nurse it and keep feeding it and keep it active in order for it to generate sales. Do you find that as well?
Yeah. I try to list at least 15 to 20 items a week still, at least on eBay. I think I've probably got about 450 active listings still on eBay.
Now, do you sell jewelry alone over there, or do you just throw the whole kit and caboodle, as they say?
I have everything. I have clothing, a lot of clothing, handbags, accessories, jewelry, and then some, small, vintage home decor type of items as well. I do a lot of higher end, clothing, designer bags, that kind of thing too.
What's your name on eBay?
Black Dog Vintage MI.
Oh, good,
Yep,
good.
yep.
So that's easy. We can follow her everywhere with the same name. That's
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes, yep.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of the wonderful handbags that you had the other day, and I know you've had others.
Mhm.
She's got some really high-end names. I know you had a Scada and
Yeah.
other things like that. Those are wonderful to find. Everyone's buying. I think there's a real resurgence with vintage. I have found
Mhm.
not just because people want the style, but people are looking for that quality, which I've mentioned in
Yes.
many of my videos. The quality is gone in many, even in Chanel and
Yeah.
other really high, they don't make them like they did. Do you find that?
Oh, yeah, completely. Completely. It's
Mm,
not even the same. Um,
no.
yeah, it's not even the same, and there's certain luxury brands I don't care for at all because they even even the older ones, I don't
Mhm,
feel the quality is like some of the other brands. Like, I'm not a big Louis Vuitton fan because I don't feel the quality is
mhm.
like a Ferragamo. I think Ferragamo is probably, to this day, probably even now, is one of the best
And
made.
continues to be. I love their
Yes.
handbags. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I love their handbags. They're very,
Mhm.
very nice.
Yep,
And
but
they're so
Chanel, you're
quiet
right.
luxury. Very,
Mhm.
very, low key, no loud logos for people who like that kind of stuff. And yeah,
Exactly.
you do see a difference in the Louis Vuittons. You really have to shop around,
Yes.
if you go directly to the store or online because they
Mhm.
have now they use a much thinner canvas, which people prefer that thicker canvas.
Mhm.
So that always makes a big difference. But,
Yeah.
what are your sales days here on YouTube, and how long have you been on YouTube?
I've only been on YouTube, since March. I was
Wow.
I was a chicken.
I don't see it. You're a natural on the camera. I really think you are.
Thank you.
I
I
don't
was
think
really
that.
nervous. I was really nervous, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to do the editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really nervous on trying to do it, and, um, yeah, I had a lot of this was a weird 2023 was a very, strange year for me. It started off very odd, and so I knew that I was gonna have to make a lot of transitions, and, um, it's been YouTube was one of the things that I really wanted to do, and I knew
Mhm.
that I was going to be making the leap into doing reselling full time this year, and, so I decided I mean, now or never, so
Right.
I decided to just do it.
Well, I think you're fabulous on there. Have you learned how to edit? Are you learning that?
Mhm,
I didn't learn how to edit till about a year or 2 after I started, um, doing YouTube because I learned on the iMovie app, which is the easiest one to learn on your phone. So, but it makes a huge difference, I
mhm,
think, for the viewer. It makes it more pleasant to be able to,
yeah,
cut out the fluff, or if you cough or sneeze or the dog's barking, you can cut that out and things like that. That's important. But what made you want to come on YouTube? Was it for selling, or was it to share the content to maybe, again, as we are told, and it's a great idea to always
mhm.
expand your social presence? Was that it?
It was, to expand my social presence, to, um, to challenge myself.
Mhm.
I really felt like it would be a good challenge for myself and to get kind of out of my shell, um, especially doing the lives. It was really
Mhm.
hard for me to get comfortable to do lives. And then once I got comfortable doing lives, I thought, well, I felt like I was following you. I was following Dawn from Hudson Vintage. I was following a lot of other jewelry YouTubers that do the live sales.
Mhm.
Um, and I thought, I think that's a great avenue to get to at some point. And I thought, maybe I can start a channel, start doing some unboxing, start getting to a comfort level, and then maybe go down that road.
So what did you do
Because,
first? Did you do the unboxings first
mhm.
or the selling?
Oh, the unboxings.
That's good, that's good. I think that's always a really good idea to
Yep.
anybody out there who is contemplating starting a YouTube channel. And I think it's really important that you establish a personality so people can know who you are.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people make the mistake of flicking on this thing that has billions of viewers and expect for someone to purchase something.
Oh, right.
Right? I think it's so much more conducive to us. I don't sell on here unless I'm a guest on someone else's channel, but I think that's the first thing you have to do is someone has to care who you are
Right.
and what you have to say and what you know, and if they can trust what you're saying and you're not just, blowing smoke in my eyes about this or the other. But that's
Exactly.
always a good thing, and yeah, I think editing is important as well.
Mhm.
And if you're enjoying the video so far, would you give it a thumbs up today? And would you please go subscribe to Black Dog Vintage MI here
Mhm.
on YouTube? And that's her name across the board, so you'll find her everywhere. I know you sell on Posh, and you sell on Whatnot, eBay.
Mhm.
You do Etsy. Do you do Etsy
Etsy.
at all?
I do.
Etsy
I
as
do
well?
Etsy. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome. I do too. I actually have a question I need to go answer on Etsy. I'm selling a fantastic cowboy jacket, vintage with the longest beautiful fringe.
Ooh.
And the lady wants to know the measurements, and I can't find my what do you call it? My tape. Oh my goodness. But there's always that. That's what you have to
Yes.
remember too, right? Is to answer those emails. Don't, lock yourself in with all these venues and then you ignore them. Don't be
I
like me.
know.
Don't do what I do.
Right. Right. I know, and I swear measuring tapes walk away.
Exactly. Exactly.
I know. I know.
So I'm glad you started doing YouTube about March, you said. That's very, very short. I'm glad.
Yeah, and
I'm
I
glad.
honestly I'm having more fun with it than I ever thought I would. And I really love the come thrift with me's. And I'm
Yeah,
getting more and more out of my shell doing that and like taking my camera with me and
exactly. Have it ready.
yeah, and going on the estate sales or the flea markets or all of that. And I have a 23-year-old son who really likes to go and do things with me. And so he's gone with me a couple times now where he's actually taken the camera and filmed me. And it's really
Can't beat
fun.
that. You
You
can't
know,
beat that. Let's
yeah.
take a minute. Let's take a minute and say hello to a few more people. Todd, Silver Hair Stacker's here. He's got a wonderful YouTube channel and a morning show where he talks to other resellers. I've always watched that show. That's what I mean about a comfort level with people
Yes.
where you like to be around them. And I was
Hmm.
talking to you about Donatella and her presence here on YouTube
Yeah.
before she took Whatnot by the storm. You have this rapport with people. You think you want to be with them. You want to wake up and turn on their show and watch what they got and
Yes.
watch them shop. So it's really, really important that you do that. Let me see who else is here. Don't don't do win is here as well as Kathleen at this and that. Thank you so much. The Life Ava said she already subscribed. So I'm glad she subscribed
Yay.
to your
Thank
channel. Be
you.
sure and subscribe, everyone. Jewelry Addiction, Tanya has a channel as well as Kirsten Red Resale. They all do auctions and they also do unbaggings and things like that. Those are
Mhm.
always fun
Yes.
as well. We do talk a little bit about your Etsy and whatnot, and you've never done Ruby Lane or First Dibs or anything like that. Have you tried any of those? Those are
I
high
have
dollar.
I've not done first dibs. I'm in the process of trying to do Ruby Lane. I've just been very slow going
Yeah.
and trying to
And
load things
you
and
apply there too, don't you? Isn't it an application process? They don't take every Tom, Dick, and Harry over there, do they?
right. And I've been approved
Mhm.
to do it. I just
Mhm.
haven't loaded all of my items yet. And like once I start loading them and then I have something sell and then I just have you have to have I think 15 or something to go live and I use a cross listing program
Mhm.
and it doesn't play with Ruby Lane. So
Okay.
it's not an easy one for me to just go over and do because I forget about it. And then,
Mhm.
it's just not something I've done. Now, have you done Ruby Lane?
No, I haven't, but I sure
Okay.
like to go over there and drool.
I
Speaking of
know.
drooling, Todd said he bought some gold jewelry today. Oh my goodness, Todd, couldn't you just have told me that? Now I have to go look on your eBay store.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Todd has found some. Oh my gosh, he's quite the silver and gold stacker, I will say. So
Mhm.
wonderful to know that. Ugh. tell me a little bit about what you choose to go to Etsy, what you choose to go to eBay, and what you choose for here, or is it all in the, one and the same?
Whew. So for eBay, I will auction usually my best pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So recently I found and you might have seen the video a while ago, but it was the Trifari rooster.
Yes, I did see that one.
Yeah. So I found that, and that went onto eBay as an
Mhm.
auction. So anything that I think is going to go relatively high,
Right.
and that I can probably get top dollar for, I will
Mhm.
auction on eBay, because I tend to have the best luck doing
And
that.
I'm glad you said that about auctions on eBay because a lot of people feel it's just buy it now, buy it now, buy it now. And
Mm-mm,
I
no,
feel, especially something rare, that's the last thing you want to do,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. I almost always I'm still a firm believer in auctions. A huge
Exactly.
believer in auctions. I've never left eBay auctions. I love eBay auctions. I've been doing it for 27 years almost, and I probably
Mhm.
will never stop. I love eBay auctions. So yes, I did an eBay auction for that, and that ended fantastic. And yeah, so
It's
that will
so,
always do it.
yes, it's so quick too. Nowadays, like
Mhm.
you were talking, that we were getting checks in the mail. We
Yeah.
had to plug in our cameras.
Yes.
We had to turn the photo every which way and
Yes.
and do it outside. And now you can do everything on your smartphone, load it up in like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
The other day, I found a box of, I'm always cleaning out my kids' stuff that they left behind. Found a box, and hopefully he's not listening, of some baseball cards and basketball cards still packaged. And I was just like, oh, I'm just going to take a quick picture, put it up there just to see what happens. It's sold the next day.
Yeah.
So it's just as always, always eBay that you must do. Oh my God. You once,
Yes.
Thelma once paid 5K for a ring. Oh, not, it's worth about 5K. You know that, don't you? You know that silver hairstyle. Everybody loves that ring when I wear it. Everybody loves that ring. And I did get it from Todd. Todd, your name is not Silver Hair Stacker on eBay. What is it? 69 Fairlane, 79 Fairlane, or something like that. I think his favorite car. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful ring. I still love that very much. So that's what you do. You get the most expensive items towards eBay. What about Etsy? Is that still relevant for you?
You know, Etsy, I have found has really fallen off for me. And I
Mhm.
really feel that they recently, well, in the last year, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but they changed their search algorithm or search engine. I'm not sure what the best
I've kind of
terminology.
stayed off a bit.
Yeah, and so ever since the search changed, and I mean, I've noticed it when I've tried to search things on
Mhm.
Etsy. I'll try to search like a Trifari crown, for example,
Yeah.
and I'll get a Christian Dior earrings coming up, and it's just
Yeah.
random things. And
That's
so I just
strange.
don't find that Etsy really is very relevant. And every time I will decide to quit, though, I'll have a really good sale. And so then I'll just I don't know, then I'll keep it. But I don't sell very much jewelry on there anymore. I will keep the clothing though. So I still sell a lot of clothing on Etsy, but not a lot
Vintage,
of jewelry.
vintage clothing.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
And
I
high
mean, there's
end.
just high-end vintage, exactly. I'm telling you, even the clothing,
Hmm.
people are just not finding it to be quality anymore.
Right.
And even the middle of the road clothing, like, you could go into a Dillard's 20 years ago and you'd buy a Liz Claiborne or,
Hmm.
just a nice top brand, department store brand, and it would be made wonderfully. Now,
Yes.
it's like, you look at it, the threads are coming out,
Right.
the buttons already halfway, loose, boots, you see the cracking already when you look at the boots in the shoe department. It's crazy, it really is, but I think that's why this is such a good avenue for people to make income, whether it's full-time or extra
Yeah.
income, because people will always choose to go to find things in vintage and high quality.
Yeah. Exactly.
Tell me a
Exactly.
little bit tell me a little bit about your background in jewelry. What first gave you that jewelry bite, that bug that we all seem to have in this chat? And I'll check the questions while you're telling us.
Yeah. So I think I've always been into jewelry ever since I was young.
Mm.
I grew up with a mom that was quite a bit older. And so she was somebody that was, had her heyday in the 50s.
Mhm.
And so I had I was always into like the rhinestones and the big gaudy jewelry back then, and I had a very kind of eclectic vintage style back when I'm very Gen X. So I grew up in the
Mhm.
80s, and I
Mhm.
was the one that was wearing the big rhinestones and the 50s dresses with the Doc Martens and the
Exactly. The
crazy
grunge.
like leather jacket and all of that.
Mhm.
So I had a really crazy style, and so I really was drawn to that kind of jewelry. And then as I got older, um and after my when I first got married, my first husband in the 90s, I started making jewelry, and I would
Wow.
make jewelry out of vintage jewelry.
Right, right. Repurpose
And
it,
that's
revamp it.
kind of
Mhm.
how, I was selling on eBay, and I was doing the Beanie Baby thing first on eBay.
You caught the eBay Beanie Baby bug?
Yes,
The
that was how I
wave the
started.
people there were some millionaires made by them Beanie Babies, weren't
Uh,
there? I wish I would have gone in that early.
I know. I know.
That's amazing.
I started doing the eBay Beanie Baby thing. But then I started selling I was picking up vintage jewelry and buying vintage beads and doing like vintage and making jewelry and selling that on eBay. It was
Mhm.
back when you could do that. You could make your own stuff and sell it on eBay. And then I was buying extra beads so I could make my jewelry and selling my extras on eBay.
Right.
And that's kind of how I was doing it. And I was buying a lot of vintage stuff, and I was just doing a lot of like eclectic stuff.
But you
And
always
that's
liked wearing jewelry as well. You donned it.
I
Yeah,
was just a crazy jewelry person.
yeah.
And so that's kind of how I started, and I was just kind of always doing that and always doing like vintage stuff, and I was making beads because I got into lamp working and
Yeah.
glass blowing and stuff like that, and I just kind
Wow.
of did a
So
lot of that. And
you made glass beads as well? That's
yeah.
amazing.
And my first time doing eBay full time was in 2002. And I was full time in eBay from 2002 to 2007. And I did it just doing making jewelry, making beads, and selling jewelry and vintage jewelry and doing all of that. And I did that for 5 years. Well, because I
That's
wanted to be a
awesome.
stay-at-home mom, and I was a
Mhm.
single parent at the time, and I didn't want to be that mom that wasn't around all the time. So
Exactly. That's
yeah, so I did
awesome.
it full time for about 5 years, and then ended up when my kids were back in school full time, both of them, I went back to
Mhm.
work. Kind of wish I wouldn't have, because I probably would have been making lots of money. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
but
it's something you have to nurture. It's just like when
yeah,
you start doing YouTube videos, a lot of people start and then they leave it or they just don't do it as often and it just doesn't grow. And I think it's the
right,
same thing with anything that you do. The more weed it and garden it and keep it nice and neat, the more it will flourish for you. That's incredible. So what did you do by trade before any of the reselling? Did you do anything
so
that required all your time or were you always just a part-timer?
I was a part-time reseller always,
Mhm.
except for that one little time. But before that, I did retail for a while. So I was doing, I was in like the leather goods industry, and I did merchandising, that type of thing. And then I went into banking for a while, and I did 10 years in banking. And then the last 10 years, I was actually in corporate dentistry.
Wow.
And I ended up getting my master's in health administration while I was doing that. And I just left my last position in corporate dentistry. So,
Wow, that's quite an
yeah.
array of fields that you touched on. Now, what do they do? What did you do with the leather industry? Was that manufacture?
So, no, I was actually working in a couple small stores where I ran like leather goods stores, and where it was like people that made their own handbags, made their
Right,
own um, wallets and coats and stuff. They were actually small manufacturer, but they were small like artisans that made their own pieces, and then I ran their stores for them. It was two
right.
different ones in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
And that's what I think started Etsy, and that's where I think they kind of left that behind a little bit. That
Hmm.
was the good thing about that, I think, is that they had a lot of artisans,
Yes.
and you could really, and you still do, but I don't know, everybody kind of diversifies a little bit.
Hmm.
But, guys, be sure and subscribe to, Black Dog Vintage. She does a lot of high-end handbags as well, and even if she doesn't sell them that day, what were your days again for selling here on YouTube?
Thursdays at 8 p.m.
So if you don't get to catch her on Thursday at 8 p.m., you can always email her before
Hmm.
she throws them up on eBay and really gets a high dollar for them because they've been amazing. What's your interest with handbags?
Um, my interest with handbags.
Yeah, how did that start? And because some people will buy a
Yeah.
handbag and wear it for 20 years, use it
Oh,
for 20 years till it dies.
I know. Well, that's the other thing. Well, the thing, jewelry, handbags, shoes. I love all of those, all accessories. I love them because no matter what weight you are, they
Exactly. Oh
always
my
fit.
gosh, that's true. That's true.
So that's kind of why I love them. And then I also love anything that's good quality. So that's why I love, quality bags and luxury bags and all of that. So yes, yes, that's why.
That's true, and it makes an outfit. Tell us
Yes.
a little bit about, like, today you did a video, be sure and watch it, everyone. She
Mhm.
had wonderful, haul from an
Yeah.
estate sale,
Yeah.
and I have found, estate sales to be very interesting. I live in a huge city with wonderful, high-end mansions, River Oaks,
Mhm.
Tanglewood, all of those wonderful neighborhoods, but I was taken a little aback when I walked into an estate sale, and yeah, I see the bookcases with the art and this and the other and sculptures and some really nice clothing and carpets and things like that. But when I walked over to the when I walk over, so that happened at least 3 times, to the jewelry, it's like a lease department. It's like people go and lease the area to be at an estate sale. At least the ones that I have found that have a lot of jewelry. Now I have occasionally gone in and I'll see, some Coro, some Monet and things, and you can tell that is from the person that lived there.
Mhm.
But I also have noticed that. And what have you found? Do you belong to, are you on a mailing list where they let you know the estate sales? And have you found that to be the case?
So there are a couple of estate sale companies where they will have actually consigners come in,
Right.
and they'll that and to me that kind of ruins the whole thing. I,
That's
I
my
just
point.
I don't like it.
Mhm.
And I know who those estate sale companies are, and I tend to avoid those
Mhm.
because it also raises the prices. And there's
Absolutely,
no
it
room for
happens.
negotiation. There's no
Mhm.
nothing.
Right.
So there's a few estate sale companies that I love to work with. And I'm like you. I'm very close to Detroit. I'm literally 3 miles outside the city,
Right.
and I'm kind of sandwiched in between like the very, very high dollar neighborhoods. So the
Mhm.
mansions, like where all the sports stars live and everything. And
Right.
then I'm very close to like the low income areas too. So, you know, depends on where I go.
Right.
But you can find some amazing items no matter where you go at some of these estate sales. And it's crazy where I find some of my best pieces because You would think it would be in these high dollar areas, but
Mhm.
actually it's not.
That's a myth, absolutely a myth.
Yeah,
You don't
it's
have to go
not.
to an estate, $1,000,000 estate to find good jewelry or
Ex
anything good for that matter.
Exactly, exactly. And, so I'll go to some of these other places, and that's where I'll find some of these better pieces. And yeah, I do know exactly what you mean. And thankfully, a lot of these estate sale companies are not like that around here, but there are definitely some that are, and
Yeah.
I stay away.
I've watched videos where someone will say, "Oh, I walked into a closet full of this and the other," and I have walked into a closet full of Chanel
Mhm.
and, jackets and things like that, but the jewelry is always like, "Oh, we gave it to the relatives, we have this," or it's like you said, they're leased. What did you call it? Consigned by others?
Consigned. Mhm.
Yeah. So that's
Yep.
mostly what I have seen, and, if you're $1,000,000 estate, you're going to get a broker in to clear your items.
Right.
You
Right.
you're not just gonna throw up a sign and expect Tom, Dick, and Harry to walk in and buy your $2,000 Chanel keyring. It's just
Right.
not gonna happen, right?
Exactly.
So that's very interesting, but tell us what you found today at the estate sale. Did you have something to show us really fantastic
Yeah,
that we
I
can talk
found,
about it?
a few different things. I
What?
found a beautiful Miriam Haskell,
Oh my gosh, that's
yeah,
gorgeous.
butterfly, and it's got Miriam Haskell in the back, as you can
Oh,
see.
wow.
Yeah, so it's signed, it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous.
Tell us about that, signature because I was showing you mine earlier. I found a fabulous, Miriam Haskell as
Mhm.
well, and I thought I was bidding on a bracelet. Don't ask me, I'll explain it later. It's the
Uh-huh.
fast pace of whatnot, but I noticed that the cartouche is soldered on there. You can tell mine's almost pronged. How is yours?
It's actually like it's soldered,
Yeah,
it's like a plaque on the back.
yeah.
So,
That is a big one too. Does that fit in the palm of your hand?
yeah, it's,
Oh my gosh, isn't it gorgeous?
2.5 by 2, I think.
Oh my gosh. Put it over
Mhm.
here by your neck so we can see how big that is. And you're gonna probably put that up on eBay, right?
I did already.
You did
Yeah.
what you started at?
I started this at 29. I
$29?
Yeah, I did a little research. It is a little bit newer.
Newer, uh-huh, 'cause Miriam
Um,
Haskell went into the '80s and '90s. A lot of people don't know that either.
exactly.
People don't tell you everything. Mhm,
Exactly. So this one is a newer piece, probably not as valuable. So,
mhm.
but we'll see. We'll see where it ends up
Right.
going.
But then the aficionado, the one that wants the purist, that wants everything from day 1 to the end, might want it as well. How many days are you running it?
I ran it for a week.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Let us know how it goes. Do
Yeah.
a video about it. That would be interesting to know.
Yeah, I will. I
There was,
will.
an article, in a, publication, I guess kind of a blog, where they were talking about the fake Miriam Haskell. So please be leery out there, be wary, be astute as to what people are selling you because I was in Chicago and I was a little leery about the place. It was a really wonderful, huge antique place, but when I saw a cabinet full of sterling silver jewelry, and I could tell from my naked eye that some of that jewelry was not sterling, and then
Yeah.
I saw some Miriam Haskell, and they just had that little attachment tag, and I really feel like you have to know more about like the caps, the kind of pearl it is. Do
Yes.
your research. Please do not take what anybody says at face value. Not here in my video, not in the chat, not in someone else's video.
Mhm.
You're responsible for your own research because like that blogger said, she tried to return it. They denied it. This was someone who'd been selling a while, but obviously decided to pull the wool over someone's
Right.
eyes on those types of pearls. And there's a very subtle but definite difference between a Miriam Haskell pearl,
Yes.
even the pruny one, and the one they were trying to pass off. And then they just attached that,
Mm.
gold little Miriam Haskell on it.
Yep.
So one was always be careful. Do we have any questions? Let me know in caps. You weren't able to find the chat, were you, Leslie? If you can scroll through there, and I'll say hi to a few more people.
Yeah, I've got it on my phone.
Oh, good. Donna's here. Rebecca, thank you all. Kathleen, Kathleen Zakowski's here, and Perla. Hi, Miss Perla. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we have quite a few people. Be sure and hit the thumbs up, share the video if you'd like, put it in your social circles. And again, be sure and subscribe to Black Dog Vintage. She's so, I think, a world of knowledge. I mean, she even made beads, y'all. Can you believe that? She even made, like, how difficult is it to make beads?
It takes a while to learn it. It
Oh,
takes a while to learn it. Yep. That's the other thing that drives me crazy with people that will describe Murano beads, wedding cake beads,
right.
Venetian beads,
Oh,
and
do a video. Do a video. Give us
yeah,
some education.
I should because
Absolutely. People will tune in, and you want to do those videos. You want people to,
mhm,
you want, when you do a YouTube video, you want someone to get something from your video, not
mhm,
just you're getting always from them. You know,
right.
you're always selling, right? So I'm begging you to do a video on beads. There are
Mhm.
none out there.
Yeah,
There are not very many out there on beads at all.
yeah.
They're either very old or very short. So tell us more.
Yeah, I should, because I do see a lot of misinformation out there. I do see a lot of information that's just not quite right, you know?
Right. Like
There's just
wedding cake, you said, versus
mhm,
Murano.
yeah, Murano beads or, Venetian beads or, just how beads are described, that type of thing.
Mhm.
There's just a lot of misinformation. So,
Always. And
yeah.
don't rely on YouTube, I mean, on, eBay either, because they're gonna list it what they think it is, and they're not everyone out there. Someone could have just gotten a trunk full of grandma's jewelry,
Mhm.
and then they did a quick little search and then used the same verbiage, and, that's how these myths are perpetuated.
Right.
Because they're just listing and then, "Oh, it's on eBay, it must be true." "Oh, somebody said it in a chat, it must be
Mhm.
true." Or, "This person had, this or that kind of credential, it must be true."
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's the other thing that drives me crazy is, when people buy on Whatnot, and I sell on Whatnot,
Mhm.
and so everybody who's out there who's purchasing on Whatnot, please be careful.
Yep.
There's a lot of jewelry sellers out there and a lot of brand new jewelry sellers out there, and I love everybody who's out there who is trying
Mhm.
and trying to hustle and make it work and all that, and God bless the hustle.
Right.
Um, but if you are unsure of what you're selling, it's okay to be unsure. It's okay to
Exactly.
not know. And it's okay to say, I'm not sure about that. Let me find out, or I'm not positive.
Yes,
I've taught people. Part of what I used to do in my previous life was teaching people how to sell. And it's okay to say, I'm not sure.
it
Um,
sure is.
the worst thing to do is to give out misinformation.
Mhm.
Um, and there's a lot of information that's out there and whatnot that other jewelry sellers are giving out that is so wrong.
Here on YouTube as well, and
Yeah.
many of them mask it with arrogance, and
Yes. Oh,
arrogance
so bad.
is not gonna get you anywhere. Answer your questions. Don't take offense if someone says,
Mhm.
"Are you sure it's sterling? Do you know what date it is?" Not just because you think you're superior that,
Mhm.
we should believe it. If you're not
Yes.
confident, say you don't know. We do have some questions. Now that you have, is this gonna be your full-time job reselling?
Yes.
Now that you
Yeah.
left your last position?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm so glad it's working for you. And Kathleen wants to know, how many auctions do you run a week? Well, I think 2 here, right? Or just 1 here? Go ahead.
I have one right now. I really would like to be running more, but it really kind of depends on what I have to auction and what items that I have that are good enough to auction. Sometimes I would like to, I mean, I honestly, I'd like to be running a lot more, but it's really just luck of what I can find. I have really been feeling
Cool.
that my well is running dry in terms of finding really good pieces lately.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you found some great pieces at your last estate sale.
yeah, and those are great for like my regular sales, but like those really like, you know,
Yeah.
great pieces, those are coming far and few between lately anymore.
What's your
Um,
plan of action when you run into that obstacle?
what's just really just hustling on everything else.
Right.
Just my buy it nows on eBay, or just pumping up those, I have a death pile of clothing and bags and everything else I got to get to work on, just getting all of that, all those done. And then, I have a consistent schedule with Whatnot, and I'm doing more Posh lives, so Poshmark shows.
Yeah, I want to try Posh Live. That would be fun.
Yeah.
I have so many clothing items that I want to sell. I buy them for my daughters. They don't like them or they don't fit.
Hmm.
Posh Live is a good one to try.
Yeah.
Someone said, I don't like Whatnot for me at all. Overpriced and filthy language. Well, I have to tell you, Swamp Picker, I don't know what your experience is over there, but you need to go back because, like everything, like here on YouTube, there's overpriced, there's filthy language, there's arrogance, there's downright lies. You need to just come back and go back and
Hmm.
scrutinize.
Yeah.
There are some really, really outstanding sellers over there who
Yes.
would sooner, fall down than sell you garbage. So please
Yes.
don't be prejudiced that way because of one experience. I
Hmm.
didn't like it when I first went in there, not to sell. When I sell, like I said the other day, I fell in love. But when I first went in there to buy, I was a little bit confused. I,
Hmm.
I ran into some of the filthy language. But you don't have to stay there. There's billions of people. That's a $1 billion industry, by the
Yeah.
way. Whatnot's been in there already going on 2.5 years, I believe, and it is a
Hmm.
$1 billion industry. So someone's doing something right over there.
There are
And
so
I
many sellers.
Yes, and the sellers are fantastic,
Hmm.
and it's a community. It can be a community as well, but you get what you put in. If you only want to watch a couple of people and then you shut your mind to it, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But go back and give it another chance. There's some great, great sellers there, and I love the fast pace
Hmm.
over there. I love the way
Yeah.
you can time things. I love the convenience of not having to chase down a deadbeat bidder,
Hmm.
not having to, you know, scrutinize who's going to be, who's just here to converse and who's here to buy. Not that there's not room for both, but there's a lot of times where certain auctions, it's just a meeting ground. That's all it is. And
Hmm.
no one's buying. A handful of people are buying. Well, I'd rather have that handful of people that you can know and trust than 120 people watching you every week and you're really only selling to 5 people. What's the point?
Right.
What's the point?
Exactly.
You're spending a lot of time in front of a camera if this is your business to sell. You're
Yep.
spending a lot of time in front of a camera and you may sell to a handful of people. You just wasted 3 hours of
Yeah.
your life that you could be listing or you could be going somewhere else where there's more sales. But like anything, it's what you put into it and it's who you follow and their inventory. But I was wondering when you say to yourself, oh, I can't seem to find that grail, that wonderful, older Monet or
Hmm.
bracelet, or why can't I find a Shriner? Where do you
No.
go to look?
Where do I go to look? I usually go to look. Let's see. If you just froze, so I'm not sure if it's just me or. Um, so I will usually go to look at. I'll just keep going to look at estate sales. I actually go to look at different auctions. I'm a big one to go to, um, uh, like eBay auctions, or I'll buy on eBay auctions, or I'll buy on high bid auctions. So okay, so it's not me. Okay, good. So I buy on high bid auctions, and
Am I back?
yes, you're back.
Sorry about that. Yes, I
So
didn't hear the answer. Start over.
okay. So I'll buy not just on like estate sales and all of that. So I'll go to different auctions. So I actually will search eBay.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll find things pretty low on eBay in like lots. But I also will search high bid auctions or live auctioneers.
I've been
Um,
on high bid. Yes, I love those.
yes, it's
Those
kind of
are
an
awesome.
addiction.
And they're
Yeah.
kind of local, aren't they? High bid can be local. You put
It,
in your city,
yes.
right?
Yep. It can be
Yeah.
local. And I like buying local because then I can drive to pick it up and not have to pay for shipping. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah. I bought this amazing, oh my gosh, this is an amazing Miriam Haskell, and I bought it on Whatnot. So no, it's not all garbage. No,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely debunking that one
Oh yeah.
real
Yeah.
quick, real
For
quick.
sure.
But yeah, high bids is great.
Hmm.
Do you find that that you can snipe on a bid like that? Not sniping in the
If
traditional
if
eBay
you
sense,
are
but
doing it live, yes.
oh, okay. Mhm.
So like if you know when your auctions are running, like there's auctions for me, there's ones on Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights. And I'm not sure if there's ones Thursdays, but the ones that I usually will bid on locally are Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. And if I have auctions out, like bids in those, I will actually sit and I have a dual screen computer. And
Mhm.
so I'll be like working and listing or whatever on those nights. And I'll have the auction running on the other screen. And then I'll be waiting and then I'll snipe and I'll try to like outbid people. And
Mhm.
sometimes I might bid too high or something to try to win something, but if I know that I'm gonna not have to go pick it up or not have to have it shipped and I can go pick it up, then I know I'm saving some money by not shipping it and it's worth
So,
it.
is it a thing like a custom bid? I just learned about the custom bid on Whatnot. I didn't know how to do that. That's like a power bid basically, right? You put in the highest amount you're willing to pay. I
Yes.
just learned about I didn't even know how to do that till like 2
Mhm.
days ago. I'm dangerous now. So is that how it works on those high bids as well?
Yeah, you can do that. Yep, you can do that with Hybid. Mhm.
Now you also mentioned that you you have some I guess connections for lack of a better word, networking is
Yes.
the word I was looking for. You
Yep.
network with your estate sales, with your brokers. What how did you establish that? Of course, we don't want you to give away your sources, but
Oh, so I've been doing this for a long time.
yeah.
And I also have a website and I'm a registered business here locally.
Mhm.
So, I'm like listed with Google. And
Right,
so I've actually been approached by people who will call me and say, are you interested in purchasing? Are you interested in this and that?
right,
And
right.
so because of that, I've made a lot of connections locally. And I've talked about Ernest in a lot of my videos, and he is somebody from inner city Detroit. He, the sweetest man. He goes around on his bicycle, takes buses with his bicycle,
Mhm.
shops all these estate sales, and his goal is to buy gold, and then
Right,
he then scraps it to make money. But a lot of times what he'll have to do is he goes in on the last day and he buys out all of the jewelry at the estate, and he ends up with all this like other stuff that he doesn't want. That's how he
right,
called me,
right.
because he found me on Google and he asked me if I was interested in all this other stuff, and so we ended up developing this friendship. And so now he kind of he scouts out estate sales. He'll buy stuff at estate sales for me because I can't be everywhere at once. And it's
Wow,
awesome
that's
because
interesting.
I Detroit's a big city
Yeah.
and there's a huge metro area and there's always probably about 50 to 75 estate sales running at any given time.
Mhm.
And I just can't get to him. And he will
Hmm.
tell, like he told me about the one that happened yesterday and he said you need to get to this one. I think there's just too much here. I'm not sure what you're going to want. And there's nothing here I want to buy. So, come check it out. And so I said, okay. And I was literally like going to have this like quiet morning, drinking my coffee, hanging out with my dog. I had,
You had to go. You
and
had
I
to
was
go
like,
grab
"Crap, I
it.
gotta get ready, take a shower, and leave."
Exactly. It's not for the late riser for sure.
Yeah.
How are you listed on Google? Why are you listed on Google again? I think I missed something.
Because I have a website, and so
Mhm.
Google basically will list you if you have a website. They'll list you on
And your
Google. So,
website is for selling or
yep, yeah, I have
oh,
I have a website. You can shop on my website. I have like my best pieces
oh,
on my
okay.
website as well. So my handbags, my best clothing, all my luxury items. I have some jewelry on there too. And then all
Wow.
my store information and everything is on there too.
So that might be something we can take away too, guys. Establish a website. I have heard, we're not going to fool ourselves. We're not eBay. We're not going to have the eyes that eBay has on our items, but you have Google. You have
Mhm.
Google there to direct traffic. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah,
Because I hear a lot of people. I watch quite a few Thrift with Me videos, and someone is always very astutely noting that you're not going to get with this because everybody, the latest video is, oh, I found this for $1. It sells for 25. Yeah, because you see it somewhere on 25, or I mean on eBay listed for 25 doesn't mean it's going to. But
right.
like this person honestly pointed out, I have a website. People buy from me because they like my videos because I have so many thousands of subscribers, right? So I've always been told, don't expect traffic on your website. Do you get buyers on your website, Leslie?
Mhm.
You
Yes,
do?
yes.
How many would you say compared to eBay?
Oh, not many, not
Not
many,
that's what I'm saying, not many, but you get
not
some.
yeah, so when
Good.
I was marketing my
'Cause you could put
website,
shopping Google, right? So instead of images, you go to shopping and you pop up.
yeah, so I
Cool.
was marketing it more heavily when I was working full time,
Mm. How do you
because
market a
I was
website?
putting more money into it, the marketing, but since I'm not working full time anymore, that was a lot of money I was putting into it, and
Thank you,
so
Treasure Hustlers, for that super chat, I believe. A super sticker. Thank you so much. So, wow. So how do you market your website? You buy ads somewhere?
yeah, so Google will kind of encourage you to run their own like ads, or Google, basically it's like their Google ads, Google marketing kind of thing. And um it's expensive.
I'll bet.
It's really expensive.
Treasure Hustlers has a whatnot as well as a YouTube channel. Check them out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
wait.
look into that because
Yeah.
that search engine optimization
Mhm.
is absolutely key. They say it's not the key anymore here for YouTube videos as it used to be, but it's definitely a way to get your name out there to the point where people find you to bring
Mhm.
you estate finds.
Yes.
Yeah, I know Donatella does that too. I mean, she's got her own web of networking rather that she's established for many, many years because she had a brick and mortar as well,
Mhm.
where people reach out to her and
Yes.
to go. She travels hundreds and hundreds of miles to buy out estates. She's a
Mhm.
serious estate buyer. Have
Yeah.
you ever bought a whole estate or a locker,
Yes.
storage locker? Tell us
I've
about
never
it.
done a storage locker. I did buy out an entire like estate. Well, not the basically like closets,
Mhm.
the clothing, accessories, shoes, all
Yeah,
of that one time. Um, I don't know that I would do it again.
because you got to clean it out in a certain amount of time, don't you? When you
Yeah,
buy
I
a storage.
I did it. It was the last day. It was a great deal. I mean, it was a great deal.
Mhm.
Fantastic deal. But I still have a lot of it, and I mean, I made my money back within a week and a half
Wow.
of
What'd
it.
you find in there?
Oh, there was like 4 fur coats.
Oh my,
There
those go.
was all of these amazing, like, very high-end '80s sweaters, like Escada, Remember the old
Oh, those
Escada?
80s sweaters do so well with those
Oh,
big graphics,
yeah,
even if they're not like the bright colors that you think 80s, but like the
yeah,
tigers and the
yes.
Versace looking thing, Versace,
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
I mean, I think there were 4 Escada sweaters and
Mhm,
then a couple other, like, the big sweater jackets with the
mhm.
shoulder pads and everything. Oh my god, they were just fabulous. There were
Oh
some fur
gosh,
hats, there was, a lot of accessories, there's some, vintage bags in there, and I think within, like, 2 weeks or so, I had already made my money back, and then over time, I know I've probably at least tripled it, but there
incredible.
was a lot of really low end things too, and a lot of things that were not necessarily vintage, and they were a lot
Yeah,
of the lady had, um, gained a lot of weight over time, and there was a lot
mm.
of plus size pieces too that, I just have sat on, and I really just need to do a big garage sale because 'cause I'm still sitting on a
Well,
lot of
Donna Sansbury wants to know, where do you store it all?
it.
Yeah, I'm sure you have
Well,
units, right? That's what
so
I need.
my son went to college, so he had when he moved home, when I moved to Southfield here in outside of Detroit, he moved here with me, and then he did like a year at community college, and then he went to University of Michigan. Well, he just graduated.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But it was great because he moved out and I had his room.
Exactly. That's what
But
my
now
house is
but
too.
now
Storage here,
his
storage there.
his job fell through, like they rescinded his job offer.
Mhm.
And so now it looks like he might be moving home. And
Oh
now
my
I'm going,
gosh. Get
oh,
him a rollaway
oh,
bed.
now I got to clean that room out. And so
Get
I'm
him the
like,
inflatable mattress. That'll get him to move quick.
I'm kind of freaking out because I got to make room for him.
Oh my gosh. Where to store? Yeah, Todd agrees. Where do you store it all? Even,
Yeah.
my wonderful, uh, friend and amazing entrepreneur, she bought Donatella bought what she called a reseller cottage
Mhm.
because she didn't want all that stuff in her home.
Right.
Now they've outgrown the cottage.
Yeah.
It's grown exponentially through her exposure here on YouTube for 4 years, and then her following is amazingly loyal, and they follow her to Whatnot, and you discovered her on Whatnot. I
Yeah.
find that incredible, and I'll have to tell her about that. I'm trying to get her on the show. I've wanted to get her on for a long time, but she's so busy. But, I find that incredible because a lot of people discover you on Whatnot as well. They're not just because you happen to be here or there. What do you find, easy about Whatnot, and can you give us any tips for anybody who may be thinking about Whatnot?
So I love Whatnot because it's in any live selling because it's just easy in general because you don't have to spend the time photographing and making your photos look good and
Right.
then doing the listing, writing up your descriptions, doing the SEO. And at least I'm very like particular about doing all of that so I
Mhm.
can have a good listing and
Right.
do all of that. So I like it because I feel it's very convenient, easy, and you just sell and then ship and you're good. But you do have to be consistent. And a lot of people will try Whatnot, try live selling, and get frustrated after a couple times because they're not selling, they're not doing very well, and then be like, you know, it's not working for me. I'm just not going to do it and
Yeah.
quit.
People quit
Um,
very soon. Yeah.
yeah. And so, and I understand that because it's not a quick, you know, it sometimes like you don't see the results very quickly, especially if you're selling jewelry or especially if you're selling clothing, because I find that those are probably two of the hardest things to sell
Clothing is
live.
hard.
Yeah.
Clothing is hard. I go in and out of my love with selling clothing because I find amazing vintage things,
Yes.
80s, 90s, that kind of thing. But then when I get that inevitable, I just didn't like it. So it's on its way back.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll never sell clothes again. I hate selling clothes.
Yeah.
But no, it's very lucrative. It really
Mhm.
is. And but eBay, you also have to give it a chance.
Yeah.
Give it a chance if you're just starting. Don't judge it for at least 6, 7 months.
Yeah.
And keep listing and keep listing. And the same thing with Whatnot. Don't judge it as a buyer if you only went in there once and saw
Mhm.
some half naked woman start cursing. Some people like that, it's not for everyone, but some people don't.
Well,
You
with
find
yeah,
what you like.
exactly. With Whatnot, if you don't like a certain seller, just move on to a different one because there's like thousands. And
Exactly.
I know people that will only shop with 3 or 4 sellers and that's it. And that's
Hmm.
just find who you like and then just stick with them,
Yeah.
but then
Because
as a seller, you just have to be consistent.
mm,
And I've coached a few sellers and with like live selling, and it does take time, and it's tenacity. It really is. It's
yeah.
tenacity.
The only thing I advise anybody who's first going live, and this is for anyone, start talking immediately as if your audience is there.
Oh yeah.
Don't wait 2 minutes and say, "Oh, we're gonna wait
Mhm,
for somebody to come in. Oh, I don't know if anybody's in. Oh, let me see." And don't do that. Don't do that, especially on Whatnot. Don't do it on
mhm.
YouTube. Start talking. I'm here. I'm looking at you. I may be the only one, but talk to me because I'm important too. Don't wait for 5 more people to come in. You don't have to start the auction right away, but sometimes I do that too because I feel like you're making it seem as if the person that's there is not as important as the 10 people you're waiting on. So, but what do you not like about Whatnot? Have you
Uh,
found any drawbacks?
yeah, probably it can be inconsistent sometimes.
Okay, with
So
your clientele coming in, your customers buying? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've had a week like where I've had shows, like live shows where it's, one right after another. They're fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. And then all of a sudden I'll do like 3 in a row where hardly anybody shows up.
Mhm.
I don't know what
And
happens.
that's because you have scheduled them pretty regular. I'm trying to do a Wednesday
Mhm,
Whatnot every Wednesday.
mhm,
It's only like my 5th one, but I think only about 18 people have bookmarked it. So please bookmark my show.
mhm.
Please use my link. You will get $15 off. I will get a referral fee. It's a win-win.
Yep.
Check out my friend Leslie over there as well under Black Dog Vintage MI as well. But I guess you're right. There's so many as well. Do you find evenings or mornings or what works for you?
Mornings. I tend to
Morning?
sell more in the mornings, on my 11 a.m.s than I do
Mm.
on my 9s, but once in a while it flips, and once in a while I'll do better on the evenings. And I
Ah,
don't do very well on the weekends, so I gave up doing weekends. So I don't do very many weekend lives on Whatnot.
thanks for the advice. Treasure Hustler says, "Don't worry about the bookmarks." All right, I'm a newbie over there, but I'm getting acclimated. Also, for those that are buying, be sure and read the description or ask beforehand because it's so fast. Like I said, I thought I was buying a bracelet, but I'm super happy with my Miriam Haskell brooch. But
True.
he was holding it like this, and I could have sworn it was a bracelet. But who cares? It's an amazing Miriam Haskell at a giveaway price that you can only get on Whatnot. So
Right?
don't miss out on those fantastic buys over there. Also, for sellers, I think it was the nurse flipper who said, "Remember, you got to ship all that. How do you organize your shipping? Because you're selling 50 things, and all of a sudden, 3 shows, 50 things, and you're a one man band like I am, or do you have
Mhm.
help?"
No, I don't have any help. I try to ship immediately after my live.
Yeah.
So immediately after I try to get my shipping done, I don't wait because otherwise I get really overwhelmed. I have really bad ADD, to be honest, and so if I do wait, then I get super overwhelmed and then I just will shut down. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. That's good advice because I tend to wait, like, because I do Facebook auctions. I don't do
Mhm,
anything here for selling on YouTube, and that sometimes takes 2 days to get everybody paid up, and so I'll just wait another day and then pack everything up, but I think going right to it is much more
mhm.
streamlined that way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mhm.
You can bookmark the shows, Kirsten, if you go to Whatnot. There's like a little tab right on the corner. It looks like a little crest or something. Click that and it lights up, and then they'll send you an email when you go live. Is that how it works? Or two couple of days ahead of time for
You'll get
Whatnot?
Yeah, you'll get a notification on your phone that somebody's going to go live if you've bookmarked it.
Yeah. All
So.
right. I'm going to give away a jewelry jar today, right?
Oh,
Uh,
yay.
I think I
There was a
supplied.
question that
What
somebody
was that
had
question?
asked.
All right. We'll do it in a little bit. What's the question?
Timeless Jewels by Deborah asked if I sold on Shop Thrilling, and yes, I did.
Oh, wow.
Before they went under. Or
Is
before,
that the one you were telling me was live also?
no,
Which one was
they
that
weren't
one?
live. They were another vintage
Oh, okay.
platform, and I
Mhm.
loved Shop Thrilling. I loved Shop Thrilling.
I never even heard of it. I'm so
Yeah,
out of the loop.
they
Wow.
were amazing. I loved them. They were kind of a cool little platform, and you would just have to give them like a CSV of your items that you had available, and then they did their own thing, and then if something sold they would message you and then you'd ship it. But
Cool.
they catered to a lot of costume designers.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so I actually sold a lot
That's
to
amazing.
movie studios and stuff like that. And I ended up developing a relationship with somebody from the Stars channel. And so I sell now, I still sell to, there's a TV show called BMF on Stars. And so
Wow.
I sell, well, I haven't recently because they're kind of on hiatus right now, but I sold to that show a lot.
So you're a source or have been a source for television, movies, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
That's awesome. The closest I've gotten to that is I sold to Delta Burke. Remember her from that old show?
Yeah.
She bought one of my purses. I was so thrilled. I mailed it off to her home in LA. It was
Oh,
an
that's
old
so cool.
vintage purse. I don't think she used it in the show or anything, but I was like, "Oh, I'm so thrilled about that." So you continue to source vintage in order to have a steady supply for your movie and TV biz?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do more content on all of that. That's interesting content that I guarantee you people will tune in to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
just
hopefully she'll order again. We'll see.
yeah. But still, even what you did in the past and tell us, because I know a lot of people do that. A lot
Mhm.
of people sell from Etsy and the Etsy are buying for, the Mad Men, the series, this or the other. I know that's way back when, but there's constantly some costume designer buying for something,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I know there's a huge store in LA. They did I don't know what show I was watching. And oh my gosh,
Oh,
I
The
don't
Way We
know.
Wore, that show?
No, no, this was a documentary show, and it was a warehouse where a lot of the TV shows come to, get even a tartan from Scotland. They have to have the right tartan
Yeah.
and things serious, historical documentaries. But it was like 3 stories, I think, in New York, and they went through that. I think it was that's one show I used to like a lot too. I still watch her. And then what was it? The True History of Fashion. There's quite a few
Mm.
nice
Yeah.
uh, content creators that do that. That's why I'm saying that would make awesome content for you if you want to continue to grow the channel. Be sure and
Yeah.
subscribe to her. Again, I will have all her information, Miss Leslie's information in my description box so that we can encourage her to make even more and more content and
Yeah.
we can see all the wonderful buys. Tell us a little bit about that no name or unknown name Dorlan jewelry that you found today before we head out and
Oh,
before I
yeah.
give away a jewelry jar today.
Oh, yeah. So this is the Dorlan. There we go. The Dorlan brooch. So this is pretty a
Put your hand
simple.
behind it a little bit
Yeah, yeah. Here we go.
so we can see it and put it up close. That is amazing.
Try to do it here like that. Can you see it? Try to,
Yes, yes. Go a
you can
little
see
bit
it.
to the right.
Trying to find it. Okay, here we go. So
There it is.
okay, so this is the Dorlan piece, and it's actually in 20. It's 22 karat gold plated. So I'm
Yeah,
trying to
you're
find.
getting off the screen. Just put your hand behind it
Okay,
so
so
you
it's
can see.
22 karat gold plated,
Wow.
and Dorlan. What I learned. So I get very obsessive when I don't know a maker. I get very obsessive about learning about it. So
It's signed,
Dorlan,
Orlan? It's signed,
signed,
Dorlan?
yep, D'Orlan.
Oh, okay.
So Dorlan studied under and was a protege of Marcel Boucher.
Hmm.
And Boucher, of course, studied under Cartier and then formed his own company. And then Dorlan then studied under Boucher. And then he started his own company. And then when Boucher passed away, he took over Boucher's company. And Dorlan is actually quite well known for his plating, for his very extravagant looks, for his just very, very like amazing kind of look to his pieces, like very rich quality.
Yeah,
And then
22 karat gold plated, that looks like the real deal there.
yeah, and
Rich gold there.
so he does a lot of, and to this day he still does a lot of like pieces for like Nina Ricci and like a lot of other, he partners with a lot of very high-end designers. And he's still around. And yeah, so this is a very simplistic piece compared to a lot of his others,
Wait,
but
right here by your lapel so we can see the size. Oh, that's beautiful.
yeah, it's just gorgeous. And just, when I saw it, I thought the plating was just amazing. I knew it had to be real plated, like gold plated, but yeah, it's just amazing. So yeah, so I was pretty excited
Wow.
to learn about that one. So yeah, there was a few pieces in yesterday's haul that I was unfamiliar with the maker and had to learn about them, and I just love being able to do that.
That is awesome. I'm so glad you found that. What about that blue? Yeah, I know you probably didn't bring it, but that blue cameo was amazing as well.
Oh yeah, I ended up selling that already.
Already? Through the
Already.
video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that blue cameo was amazing. I did not was not able to learn too much about it other than it was some type of resin, and but I could tell from the
It looked like
how it
Wedgwood
was.
from the
Yeah,
color.
yeah, and the setting was very old. I mean, and then it had the really cool like the pendant that flipped up. But I couldn't really find much about like the maker or anything like that. But both cameos are already gone that I
That's
got.
awesome.
So
And that's pretty good. Pretty quickly. See, that does serve your purpose there.
mhm,
But
yeah,
advice again, not that you're asking for, but I always give it anyway. And
yeah,
then people get mad. Make other content too. We want to learn about those beads, what you
yeah,
know about them. Even if they're quick little 8 to 10-minute videos,
mhm.
I love to consume those. 8
Okay,
to 10-minute videos. This is what I know about beads. This is the difference between a Murano and a whatnot. That'll be great. Again,
okay,
I'm gonna have all her information so you can subscribe here on YouTube. Be sure and subscribe and watch. And the same name is on Whatnot. Whatnot's fantastic also because you can find everybody pretty quick. If you know
yes,
their name, all you
mhm,
have to do is search it. It's so hard to
mhm,
find eBay sellers with just their name.
yeah,
But I love Whatnot that way. I am going to do a quick little before we let Miss Leslie go back to work because I'm sure she's got a ton of shipping to do unless we have another question. But I mentioned that I sold a vintage purse. Who did I sell it to for your jewelry jar prize today? And if you win, the first one I see in the chat with the right answer, please email me your address. I'm at thelmahordes@gmail.com. And that information is always in the description box. Also, look for me on the 16th. I will be here on the Jewelathon along with Deborah, Timeless Jewels by Deborah. She's going to be there. Kristen D, Stephen, Doug, Callie Vintage is going to be there. So you guys look for it. I'll probably sell some jewelry jars. See there? Can y'all see them? I sold one at the Whatnot sale and I sold one at my Facebook auction, but I make my jewelry jars amazingly good. You will not find junk in them. All right, let's see who came in first with the answer. It looks like right after someone said, I subbed Leslie, it looks like Kelly Ross. Is that what you see as well? Delta Burke?
mhm.
Delta Burke bought my vintage bag on Etsy. All right, that's who I see. Thank you, guys. We will be giving away jewelry jars because I've been on here 10 years. We're celebrating my tenure here on YouTube, tenure. And my birthday month is next month, but we won't talk about that right now. I kind of forget about my birthdays. All right. So be sure my winner look like we picked it right, correct? Congratulations. Can everybody congratulate our winner? And again, please tell my
Congratulations.
friend, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. When you watch her videos, give her a thumbs up as well. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Look for another show. We'll be doing some interviews all summer because I'm home, and this is what I like to do: talk to other resellers and other people who know so much more than I do about jewelry and finding all those wonderful items. All right. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thanks, everybody.